Yes, but the spell only allows me to teleport one other person with me, so it wouldn't have been of much use to us here, Iluna says. Plus, it has very limited range, so it's not likely you can travel it for us to travel either. I rarely get the chance to use the spell, to be honest. How can you be sure that the underground mines won't just lead us to a dead end, Kate says. We found a pretty detailed map of the tunnels in the ogre's library, Luna says. Araka, do you think you can add it to the map of the fort? Give me a second, Araka says. A few moments later, a new level gets added to the fort's hologram, showing us the layout of the underground tunnels in detail. The cavern appear indeed to have an exit, but there are several ogre mages stationed right in front of it. There are guards at the exit, Luna says. Good, that means that the tunnels are still being used to a certain extent, so there should be no cave-ins blocking our path. Alright then, Hadrick says, I'm gonna go smash through the wall when we get to the other room. After Hadrick destroys the wall, we see that the floor in the middle of the adjacent room has also crumbled from the ogre's smash. The cave wall from our side of the pit and the one on the opposite side seem to extend all the way to the end of the other rooms, and probably beyond it as well. Just as Luna said, the scaffolding below the other room seems to be mostly intact, and it shouldn't be too risky to climb down the wooden ladders until we reach the bottom. Let's get going, Darren says, before the ogres find this room or the shaman tells them about it. It took us a few moments to climb down all the ladders, but there were no incidents, and we all arrived safely at the bottom of the mines. The only source of light that we have at the moment is Araka's hologram, and it's shining brighter than a torch, and the map of the tunnels is very exact, so there's no danger of us getting lost. I think one of the ogre mages that were accompanying the shaman just teleported near the ones guarding the tunnel exit. Kate says, I saw one of the blue dots disappearing above and another one appearing below. He was probably sent as a messenger to tell the guards ogre to be to the other ogres to be on their guard. Yeah, they're turning invisible as we speak, Ara says. A lot good that will do them. But won't it be hard to fight them even with the map while they're invisible? Rose asks. The invisibility spell they are using cannot be maintained during combat, Elena says. They're only using it for the element of surprise. They'll be forced to reveal themselves as the fight begins. That's why they were unleashing themselves every single time while we're going into a fight. We hit one of them and all of them come out of their invisibility spell, I see. They'll be forced to reveal themselves as the fight begins, Saraka's right. The spell will do them no good whatsoever. As we get closer to the exit, it still doesn't make sense why all of them have to reveal themselves or whatever. As we get closer to the exit, we see that the ogre in the fort are starting to flock towards the secret room. Some of them already reached the scaffolding. The shaman's group seem to be heading that way as well. Damn it, Hadrick says. The shaman must have tipped them off about the secret room. If we don't pick up our pace, we'll end up being surrounded. Wait, don't move. Something's wrong. I can feel it. Give me a minute. You don't have a minute, Darren says. The shaman and the ogres are breathing down on our necks. Why would there be something wrong? I don't know yet, Hadrick says. That's why I said I need a minute. You know the traps ahead of us? Rose asks. I doubt it, Hadrick says. Given that there are guard stationed at the exit, I'm guessing that these tunnels are still being used as a potential escape route in case the fort is under siege. I don't see why they would want to risk running into their own traps while they're hurrying to abandon the stronghold. These guards should be enough to keep an unwanted outsider away from the tunnels. Yeah, Darren says, and there's no way they would have enough time to set up a trap in a few minutes that they had in their disposal before they've been announced of our escape. The only kind of trap they might have placed is a magical one, but those are easily detected by anyone with a decent magical sense. Some of the ogres are already halfway down the scaffolding, Kate says. We don't have much time. We could at least wait until the ogre reach the cave floor. It's true, Araka, we can't afford to waste any more time here. I think I'm gonna listen to her because this novel has so far gone the direction of you need to listen to others for some reason. Usually it's a bad thing in medieval fantasy sometimes. Not usually, sometimes. We could at least wait until the ogres reach the cave floor. They will need another 5 minutes to catch up to us after that, so we'll have plenty of time left to finish off the guards and exit the tunnels. Fine, Darren says, but if she doesn't have an answer until then, we're making a run for it. I've got it, Araka says after a while. There's a very powerful magical explosion trap some 200 feet ahead of our position. Keep going, I'll tell you when to stop. What are you talking about, Darren says, as we all start going forward. I'm not sensing any traps. That's because it's really well hidden, Araka says, and barely sense any magic coming from it, but it's there. Here, I'll highlight the area so you know where it is. As soon as he's done talking, a small area in front of us gets covered in blue light. When we get closer, Darren starts waving his sword in the air as if trying to catch the light with it. Well, I'll be damned, Darren says. Stand back, I'm going to disarm the trap. He then starts slicing through the air in a triangular motion a few times in a row. Suddenly a very loud popping sound, and there is smoke coming out of nowhere. Smoke soon disappears and Araka's blue light fades along with it. I think that should about cover it, Darren says. Yeah, the trap's gone, Araka says. Only the ogres are left. Give me a second, I'll highlight them too. Enough, you heard the shaman's voice, and soon he materialized out of thin air along with 5 ogre mages accompanying him. I don't know how you were able to see through my trap and through my invisibility spell, but I know why you've been able to avoid all the patrols on your way to the treasure room. Oh, don't be modest, Shaman, Araka says as she changes the blue dot corresponding to the shaman into a green color. You must have had at least some idea what was happening, otherwise you wouldn't have purposely taken the magical signature of one of your troops when you came down here in order to trick my magical sense. Was that decoy that you left behind with your own magic signature anyway? A clone? No, the shaman says. One of my followers holding an artifact that copies my aura. Fascinating, Araka says. She changes the original green dot's color into blue. So how do you find out where we are? Iluna says, the captain and I have a telepathic link which was meant to warn me once he left the realm of the living. The shaman says, we are going to pay for this, you little traitor. My followers are going to turn you all into ashes. He then raises his staff into the air and the other 5 ogres step in front of him and casting fireball in unison at us. I mean, this is a cave. Do you think it's a good idea to cast fireball in here? There's probably not enough oxygen in here. But whatever. Adric and Darren both step in front as well in order to form our first line of defense. The dwarf focuses his aura in his fist and he sends 2 of the fireballs straight back at the ogres. Darren places his sword in front of him, absorbing the other 3 fireballs within it. He then slashes his flaming sword towards the ogre, sending a powerful fire beam at them, which burns them into a crisp. You've done it now, the shaman says with a dark look in his eyes. Look at the ashes of his 5 followers. I didn't plan to use this on you, but you leave me no choice. He then smacks his staff into the ground, and then the whole room gets filled with thick grey fog. As the fog clears a bit, I realize that we're no longer standing in the middle of a cavern, but on an open plain. It appears to be snowing. There's an illusion. My eyes are not deceiving me, it really is snowing. There's a thick layer of snow on the ground, and the trees I see in the distance are all covered in snow as well. Could this be an illusion? Damn it. Araka says, I completely lost track of him. He went invisible again. I can't sense his aura at all. Actually, I can't feel any of our auras either. What the hell? You aren't the only one, Kate says. I've completely lost my magical sense as well. Could this be anything to do with the fog? No, Iluna says. This is a shaman's ritual. Basically, it's a very advanced mind-affecting spell. We're not in the real world anymore. Thus, there are different rules. We're not missing only our magical senses, but our magical powers. You were really wearing... you were already wearing collars, so you can't tell the difference. But Araka, I cannot cast any spells at this moment. Also, it would appear that ranged weapons are not allowed either. Since Barry's crossbow is gone, I think magical items are still functional, though since the shaman must have used his staff in order to turn invisible. Well, this is a problem. So what's happening in the real world right now? Yeah, that is what I want to know. Our bodies are just there. So what's happening in the real world right now? Does the shaman plan to kill us while we are trapped in here? No, Luna says. Shaman's ritual are different from other mind-affecting spells. First of all, time flows differently in this space. A year spent in this world amounts to only 1 second in the real world. Man, that is a good way to fucking train. Like study. Like if you have exams, just study in there. Your body won't grow old and you have plenty of fucking time. And you will also grow up as a person, I suppose. And that is a spell you need. Different from other mind-affecting spells. First of all, time flows different in this world. A year spent in this world amounts to only 1 second in the real world. Secondly, the shaman is also trapped in here with us. So what's the purpose then, Hardrick says? Isn't this like some sort of dream? What about the other ogres? Can they come and kill us, or as soon as they get in range, they immediately go into this realm as well? Because then he has infinite reinforcement to some extent. So what's the purpose then, Hardrick says? Isn't this some sort of dream? Aren't we just going to wake up once we die? You may not be familiar with these type of spells, since they aren't all that common on the other continents, Iluna says. But this isn't anything like a dream. You can feel pain, you can concentrate without waking up. If you die in here, you die in real world as well. What does this say? SAO? What's actually happening is that our souls from ethereal plane are no longer directly connected to the ethereal plane, but to another pocket universe from the ethereal plane. In order to reattach our souls to our bodies, we'll need to close our eyes, think about last moments before we were transported here. We get a clear image of this cavern in our head and focus on it, and with the conviction that the image in our heads represent the real world, while the world we are standing in is only an illusion. The image in our head would then slowly start to become more vivid until it would eventually replace the world in front of our eyes. In order to get out of here, we would all need to do that, Darren says, including the shaman. Exactly. Ilona says, our problem is that the shaman, until we get rid of him, we won't be able to return to the real world. That's why he trapped himself in here with us. How are we supposed to fight him? He's got complete control of this world. Hardrick says, wouldn't it be like fighting some sort of god? No, Iluna says, the shaman does not have control over this world. He only created it. Once he trapped himself in here, he becomes he became forced to follow the same rules as the rest of us. This is the nature of these shaman rituals. He doesn't have any magic either, except for the spells in his staff. And he's been gracious enough to let us finish our conversation. I would suspect that he has no intention of fighting us head on. He must be waiting for something, like an avalanche or something. As the fog disappears completely, we see that there are several pairs of red eyes shining in the dark depths of the forest. Oh, he's planning to use wolves. We start to hear several low, continuous growls as the creatures are getting closer. When they come out of the forest, we learn that they are in fact wolves, though they are at least 3 times the size of normal ones, and their fur is black as coal. Others start running towards us, towards our group, while Darren and Hadrick step in front of us, assume their battle senses. 3 of the wolves go right for them, but the wolves go right for them, but the other 2 circle around, go for Kate and Luna instead. Darren defends himself with his shield with one wolf, while he sliced the other's head clean off. Hadrick punches the 3rd wolf in its mouth, sent 3 of its fangs flying as the animal squealed in pain. Kate was waiting for the beast with her dagger in hand. The animal dashed towards her, but she managed to get behind it in the blink of an eye, and she slit its throat with a single motion. As her hands got drenched in the wolf's blood, the look in her eyes changed completely when she started fighting the wolf. She's always had a sort of feral look about her, but this was more than that. This wasn't her just being ruthless or efficient. Those were the eyes of a beast hunting its prey. That must be why she was able to survive alone in the jungle at the age of 12 before she even had any magic. In order to avoid being hunted, she was forced to become the hunter instead. Iluna, who didn't have any weapons, started jumping around using Flower's acrobatic techniques in order to confuse the wolf and avoid getting bitten. Once Darren and Hadrick finished dealing with the other wolves, they came and killed the ones attacking Luna as well. This is why the shaman didn't take any action, Hadrick says. He was too busy getting away from here so that his own wolves wouldn't attack him. Lucky for us, he left a trail of footsteps on the snow that we can easily follow. He then points towards the trail of the footsteps left by the shaman. He leaped into the only part of the forest which doesn't seem to be crawling with wolves. If we all go in after the shaman now, we'll have to fight wolves every step of the way, Darren says. That would only make it easier for him to finish us off. Someone should go after the shaman alone while the rest of us provide a distraction. Probably someone who's confident that he can defeat the shaman in a duel, who can handle himself against a few wolves in case they don't all take the bait. But let someone else volunteer. I can't fight them. I can't even fight the wolves. I'll go, Hadrick says. I'm the fastest among us, and I would be able to handle the shaman without much trouble once I find him. Good, Darren says. We hold the wolves off here. Go, go, go. The dwarf dashes towards the forest. Within moments, he disappears behind the trees. Meanwhile, the wolf seems to have gotten bolder because they are now starting to come out of the woods in greater numbers than before. After advancing slowly, carefully, after a while, all of the wolves started running towards us at the same time, as if they had received a signal to attack. The battle begins quickly. Darren kills 3 of the wolves with a single slash of sword. 4 of the other wolves have already started chasing Luna, who is avoiding them to the best of her ability. As the fight goes on, I notice that Rose is being surprisingly calm given the situation. She makes sure that she is always in Darren's range so he can defend her. At the same time, she tries to stay out of his way as much as possible. I can't just stand around, do nothing. I pull out my daggers and jump at one of the wolves, trying to stab my knife in its throat. Speed check successful, level 3. I succeed in taking it by surprise. I cut its throat and quickly remove my knife while the beast takes a few more steps and falls on the ground in a pool of its own blood. At the same time, Kate gets behind another wolf. She sticks her knife into the back of its head and killing it instantly. While we were busy fighting, Iluna had gotten herself cornered by 3 of the wolves. She had her back pinned against a big rock. The wolves are closing in on her, preparing to strike. Iluna catch, Kate says, and she throws the banshee her dagger. Catches it from the air. She then quickly slides below one of the wolves, holding her dagger with both hands, splitting the belly beast in half as she passes beneath it. She jumps onto the back of another wolf. She sticks her knife in the back of its neck. As an animal falls, she jumps off of it, landing with a quick roll. She then she stabs the last of the wolves in his right eye. The banshee doesn't get any chance to rest because 4 other wolves are already coming her way. In the meantime, 3 of the wolves have managed to get past Darren and are now steadily approaching me and Kate. Keep my dagger and fight the wolves myself. Give Kate my dagger and help her by throwing rocks at the wolves. Well, Kate needs something to protect herself. Iluna should be here any second, so I'm gonna throw rocks. Might as well throw rocks. I have hyper speed, right? So I should be able to dodge them. Yeah, I do have hyper speed. I have also reflexes on the. I have reflexes 4. I have speed 4. I have observation 4 and a hearing 4. There ain't no fucking way I could possibly get bit. Like, come the fuck on. That would be ridiculous. Yes, speed check. Let's give Kate my dagger and help her by throwing rocks at the walls.